Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 4 of the Real Influencers Project. I'm your host, Craig Reynolds, and with me today is one of the most talented people I have ever met. He can sing, he writes songs, he plays instruments, and he is wicked fast on the basketball court. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Scott Avett of the Avett Brothers. What's happening, Scott?
Not much, man. That's the best thing you could. I'm wicked fast. That's the coolest thing you could say about me.
Dude, I'm not keeping up with you. You don't stop running. I'm not guarding Scott today. Everyone else has to. I know better.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I don't believe you, man. I don't believe. I feel like you probably got. I don't know. You got some tricks up your sleeve. For sure.
You know what, man? I haven't played in so long. The fact that we're playing now, I'm really excited about. I tore my hamstring.
Yeah.
I'm still feel like I'm mentally on the mend coming back because I'm still afraid that it might tear again. But really, it's not going to. But there's still part of me that's like, I want to run. So we've been playing, and I feel really good about it, and it's fun. And I know I'm, getting picked last, but that's totally cool. I'm that's my role right now, and I'm having fun, and that's all I care about, man.
Oh man, I'm not gonna pick you last.
Maybe you should. I don't know. Depends who's available. You might want to.
I guess.
So speaking of basketball, I told my wife the first time that you and I started chatting, we were coaching our sons playing basketball, and I didn't even think about what you do and what you do. We just started talking. I'm like, this is a cool cat. And then when I got home and I was telling Julie we were chatting, and she reminded me of the Avett Brothers in your history, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. He's just a cool cat. Like, he's just a normal, cool guy, which I love that about you.
I appreciate that. And I feel like a normal, cool guy. I feel like it takes one to know one, I guess.
Well, I don't know, man. I've run across some people. Well, you know what? There's a lot of cool people that we're around on a regular basis, which I sing the praises of all of everybody quite often. Before you had told me that this was a work in progress, and you've been on this journey, your whole life to get to where you are. And that's what this show is all about. I initially started out as a photography project for myself to go shoot all of the people that I love that helped influence me to be who I am today. And I'm going to make a little book out of it. And a good friend of mine, Justin Ottman, said, you should make a show out of it. And he told me how to do the YouTube thing and everything else. And I'm like, I'm in. And that weekend I started it up. And that's why we're here today, is a kind of like, who helped you get to where you are, and that gratitude for those people that got you there. It might not even be people, it might be things. There might be something that influenced you to write a song or go down a certain path. But that's what this is all about, and I love it, man. It's so much fun to do this. So thank you first and foremost for coming on the show.
I appreciate it, Craig, for sure, man. I'm honored to do it.
Well, so tell me, you said in our talks playing basketball one day that you started a band in 3rd grade. So you've been musically inclined, and you've been doing music your whole life. You can't not do it.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking about what you're talking about. One, getting to where we are right now, and I just to get it as philosophical and as deep as we possibly can. Where we are right now is just a place in motion. We're just. It is the now, and it's moving, and it's changing, and it's not this destination that we wear those failures and those victories on our sleeves, everywhere we go. They're just part of the fabric that's moving through. And when you talk about the circles that you like, as I got to know who you are and your history, which is just part of who you are, I couldn't help but think, like, really drawn to you because the magazines that had the BMX racers and then the skate magazines, that we grew up so far from that world, and we would get our hands on that stuff. There was a bike shop in Concord called Cabarrus Schwinn, and that was where you went to see the new Vision Gator or the Steve Caballero decks. Yes. That was the only place you could buy a deck that was anywhere near us. And we went in there, the smells and the sights of these bold graphics and everything. To me, it was just it was otherworldly. So. Yes. You're talking about like influence and inspiration, and I can bring this around the question more or less. Is that music was one of many things that I saw as like a way to show out, a way to show off, a way to express who I am, And I was encouraged as a kid, and this is where I was extremely privileged. My brother and sister as well. We were just super privileged because our parents encouraged us to show out and to be the best us. Not, and when I say best, I don't mean the most successful us, the most representative version of who we are. Not necessarily the most, the most achievements. That was told at a very early age. That was told to us, that will come. Don't worry. Like that's, and that, I don't know, man, I was hearing that early, but when we would see, the world that you were in, like that world was so exotic and otherworldly. I know you're from Chicago area, and I know the West Coast is where you saw a lot of the visuals, but it went for all the major metropolitan areas. There was so many kids doing those extreme sports, and we didn't see it a lot. You just brushed with it, and when you saw it, you knew it, man. And it was so inspiring to say, hey, okay, and it's a trap too. And I'm sorry to answer this so crazy. This first question,
I love this. This is exactly how it should be.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a trap too, because you see that and you go, oh, I want to be that. And that's not you. I was never going to be a kid that was going to go and try to pull a flip on a bike. I was terrified to do that. I would love for people to believe that I would do that. I would love to be. I had a half pipe in my backyard, and we skated it, and we might have even gotten a little air, but we never were great. But I wanted everybody to think I was great, but I wasn't. I wasn't quite up for the, dropping in a 12-foot, 2-foot avert type amp or a ramp type. That was just kind of like, I'm not. This isn't my.
Me either, man. That's a scary thing. That half pipe, while it looks fun and exciting, when you get up and you get near the coping, it's like I'm vertical, and I'm so used to being level on a bike and sucking up a lift and going 50 feet. I could never comprehend going straight up and coming straight back down into that thing. So I couldn't figure it out. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm going nowhere near that thing. It's scary. Like, vert ramps, please. Who are they trying to kid?
The kid would say, "Oh, it's only 6-inch vert." Well, I'd go there and be like, "It looks like a mile of vert to me. It feels like a mile of vert."
Yeah, when does it turn vertical from the concave transition? Like, when is it vertical? Because I don't know, because it feels vertical to me right now. It's crazy.
I gotta show, if I can ever find this picture of a ramp, the first ramp that my dad built for us out of 2x4s and plywood, and my dad hand drew the, what do you call it? The
is it a logo of the graphics?
No. When before he scroll cut what the contour of the ramp was going to be, there was no. So there were all those plans in the back of like Thrasher and Trans, where you could get all the plans you could get proper plans. Well, we were homemade, like homegrown doing it. This thing did, like, it went up, it kind of went this way, then it did this a little bit, then it went straight up. And it really turned into just like a fort that we hung out on, and we'd sort of skate the bottom of it. But I mean, it was like a wall to wall, but not to get, at the same time, I was exploring all that stuff. The third grade thing, that was a time where music was, I didn't realize, but that was some place that I was feeling much safer. Like I could get in there and push the boundaries much more natural, like on stage, and feeling like I could hop around on stage. And I loved attention. I loved it. Just give me a chance to get a little attention and let me work it. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I just, I craved it. And ultimately I learned that it was about expression. It was about creativity. But in the beginning, it was just like, hey, look at me. And that's, it could get me in a lot of trouble at times, really, really make a,
I'm sure
a goofball of myself.
But what's amazing? For me, on a bike, that was home. Like, that's an extension of who I am. I could get on my bike and ride in front of however many people are there watching the race and not think twice about it, because that was my space, right? And I knew what I was doing, and that was what I was supposed to be doing. Cool. For you to get on stage and to sing, and for me, because I don't do it, I think singing is such an incredible God-given talent that for you to get up there and be able to express that, man, it takes a lot of guts. That is, for me, that would seem like it would take a lot of guts. For you, I'm sure it's just natural. But man, I love it, dude. I wish I could sing, man. That would be so cool.
Everybody can sing. It just
nah,
depends.
we said that
you
we
know.
said that the other day. Not a chance, dude. Not a chance. I'm not buying it.
Well,
I can talk, like I'm good at doing this, but actually to get up and express and bring these notes out of me, there's not a chance. And the fact that you can do it and comfortable, and that's your safe zone. Wow, dude, that's crazy.
oh, it's interesting. Well, that's cool to hear, man. Something that's interesting about especially when you were in that realm, which is such a blatant world of competition. There is no, you can't say, like, in art and music, you really have to be cognizant and careful about the competitive tendency, because there's no place in it, because you can't, it's really, it can hurt you, once you start comparing and try to compete with other people. I can see how at times it can be a kind of a nice motivator, but in the end, if you've got that competitive vibe in your heart to create from yourself, it's probably going to devour your heart, because you'll never be enough. You'll never be. But the reality is that you are, in art, in creativity, which we all have our place in this, in creating things, even if it's just a conversation like what you do. If you're into photography, then you're into, you're creative, you're creating. It's and if you compare yourself, to what, Annie Leibovitz or like, would that be one that you would think of, or like,
Absolutely.
you compare yourself to some photographer that, well, I can't do, I'll never, Sally Mann, look what she did, that's not the way. She's not Craig Reynolds. He's not Craig Reynolds. And I think that's important. We were speaking with, Seth and I were speaking with Kyle Petty last week or week before.
Kyle Petty was on the show, man. I love Kyle Petty.
Okay.
Love me some Kyle Petty, dude.
So musician and race car driver and many things, Kyle's many things.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyle, I was kind of researching before we did this thing with him, just kind of researching his performances on TV, like Nashville Now and stuff. And I was thinking, it's got to be tough, because when you're a competitor like that, you are going to get, like, your competition is using anything they can against you, period.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if you're bearing your heart on national television, well, your enemy, your competition is going to bring that to you. Like, oh, you got, you hurting, your little heart hurting, and out on the track, that can be a problem.
Right. Right. Yeah. It clouds your vision, right? When you're on the track, like some of my best races, I can't remember because my mind got out of the way and everything just took over and I did the lap. Whereas if you're so emotional out there, you're overthinking, you're thinking about how you overthink the whole process and you go slower. If you just let go and let it happen, you're money.
Yeah. I think that's more and that's like performing on stage. I think writing a song, letting something out, creating something, once it's to the recording process, you're now, they overlap, but a lot of times the expression's already been lived out. You touch it again when you're performing, but my favorite performances are the ones where I couldn't tell you what the lyrics are. I just know that the muscle memory of when I'm here and I'm doing this and this, that's what's coming out, the lyrics almost become abstract shapes that, and I know people are feeling it out there. They're feeling it. But there's certain songs that we have that we do many, many nights. And if I have to speak the lyrics, it's very difficult for me. I have to do it in sort of the it's just muscle memory. And I've gotten so used to doing it in a certain way, in a certain context. So it's interesting. And I never saw that coming. Nobody ever told me that. The closest thing to that is Chad Smith, the drummer for Red Hot Chili Peppers, who has contributed to some of our records and is a good friend. In fact, we were just in New Orleans playing at the same time as the Chili Peppers at Jazz Fest yesterday. So that was not cool, because I was like, okay, I'm sure the Chili Peppers have about 50 million people over there. I think we had a great crowd, but I'm thinking, I don't know, like who was going, well, who am I going to see?
That's your competitive side coming out a little bit, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I'll tell you this: 10 years ago, it would have eaten me up. It would. There's no doubt it would devour me. It would devour me, because all you would do is count the spaces that were empty versus playing for the people who are here. But right. I didn't think about it once yesterday. Shoot, Chad's a friend, and it's like, God, these are guys who they got their thing, we got our thing. We're not here to play for we're not playing for the empty spaces, for the people that went to see the Chili Peppers. We're playing for the people who came, who've never heard us, some that are diehard, whatever. We're here for them. It doesn't, if it's 10 people or 10,000, it's all good. And it was a wonderful crowd. It was killer. It was killer.
Right.
But Chad mentioned something about talking about Anthony Kiedis and how, like, standing still to sing. Chad was like, I don't think we know how to do that. Like, it's such a part of, he's like, I don't think we can just be still. Like, it's such a part of it's such a bodily and energetic what's the word, projection that you do, that it's just part of it. And I mean, the Chili Peppers are the best at it, that being unique and being themselves and doing it for a long time and growing, in front of everybody.
Well, you a second ago you mentioned about how it's muscle memory and it comes out. How do you do that in a studio setting when you're actually recording it and get that same feel and that same vibe?
Yeah.
And does that just all come from you? Does it call from you, or is it also from your producer that's helping bring that out of you as well?
Yeah, here's what I would say about that. It depends on how familiar we are with the song, or that I am with the song when I'm, when we're going to record it, as to what that relationship's going to be and what that experience is going to be. We've done both. We've gone in and done songs that we've played live already, like, hundreds of times. And it's like how we might say, how can we do this interest? And we might start with just exactly how we do it on the stage. And then it is similar, same muscle memory. That doesn't happen as often as you're bringing in something that's pretty fresh. And so you're still getting to know the song sort of, metaphorically speaking, it's sort of getting to know you as well. And that's a tender moment that I think is really good to, for lack of a better term, to exploit, because that's where some of these magical things are born. And I like catching them early and having them on tape early. The negative side of that is the songs change so much over time when you play them more and more and more and more. However, that relationship with a song that's never been wrung out is different. A turning point for us would have been about 2007, 6 or 7, where we got invited. There's this producer named Joel Dorn, and Joel Dorn was the producer who produced Robert. For one thing, any names that I get wrong, like already Annie Leibovitz, I was going, is that a photographer? She is, right?
She's one of our favorites. Yeah, she's amazing. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm just kind of like, but wait a second, did I get that mixed up with some other artist? But Joel Dorn produced Roberta Flack's "Killing Me Softly." Okay.
Whoa.
So he that's like, you just forget about it. Like, this dude is serious, and he had his co-producer that was with him was what was his first name? It's Les Paul's son. Anyway, the Les Paul guitars, his son was with him. So Joel was from the old school. Joel had recorded Johnny Cash and like all this stuff. And Joel came to us. He really loved this song called All My Mistakes. And he just swore by it. He'd come out and seen us a couple times. He was an avid photographer. He would come see us when we were in New York. And Joel brought us into, what was the name of this? Sear Sound, I believe, in New York City. And we had a day or two there. For Joel, he said, let me produce 4 songs. Let's see what happens. And we'll just see how it feels. And that at that moment where we would perform a song 3 to 6 or 8 times and then say, okay, how well do we do it? Joel was like, no. Like, he didn't say this, but we'd finish. He'd be like, let's do that. Let's run that again. And I mean, you're running songs like 15, 18, 20 times. Whoa. And you're going, you're thinking, and I remember, like, that was kind of like this workout that we were like, we haven't been, like, we thought we were doing it. And this was one of those steps on the way. It's like, no, here's doing it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it until we do it. And that might take, one of the things he also said, not to say that you wear yourself out. Like, for him, it was like, he said, you boys don't know when to quit. Like, he was saying, he was like, you go 100% all the time, and you can't do that. Like, I think he was trying to tell us, you're blowing tone. You don't know when to reserve energy. At the same time, it's kind of like, if you're going to do this 15 times, then it's going to call for a break. It's going to come. And we didn't take break. We just were like, we looked at it like this, sort of like, we're going to do it. We're going to do it, do it, do it, do it. We learned 2 lessons. It does take it doing it a lot. And it does also take space in between that doing it a lot. And that kind of was a good, shoot.
I lost you.
No, it's just somebody's calling me. Somebody's calling me. Just stick with me. Stick with me. You still got me? You got me?
You're there, dude. Yeah, your just name popped up. We're leaving it. That's perfect. I love it.
Right. That was perfect sort of boot camp for leading us into Rick Rubin. So when it was within like a year or 2 is when we met Rick, and going into Rick's world of work, we already understood kind of like it's going to take more effort from us. It's also going to take more preparation, and it also takes more meditative time and time away. Like, so that negative, so I don't want to harp on the whole, because Rick would never be one to say, we're going to grind this out. He's more like, we're going to do this when it feels right. When we get on a wave that's good, we're going to stay on it. When we know it's time to stop, we're going to take a break. We're going to go eat lunch. We're going to go sit in the sun or something, so it's a balance, but it was good. That, I guess that's what I'm getting at there is with muscle memory. It happens, especially when you're doing them like song, doing it, running it. But here's what happens. Last thing I'll say about it. Every time, this is like something Seth and I are so keen on now, and I experience it when I'm alone too. You've got this wave, and you'll improve, and you'll be getting takes, and you'll get a couple great takes, and you'll keep taking until it stops giving to you. And then you start making these, you just start sounding terrible. You can feel it. You're like, okay, that wave's over. And you can stay in it, and it'll come back. But that takes some staying in. And a lot of times after you're back down, you say, all right, Brett, let's take a break. We'll get back. We'll get back to that wave if we need to. And otherwise, let's just step back from it. It might sound totally different tomorrow. So
that's amazing. So who was it? You said your mom and dad were very supportive of your artistic endeavors early on. Tell me a little bit about how that relationship helped form where you guys are at today.
Yeah. In nuts and bolts terms, my mom and dad just provided us the tools that we needed when we were interested in something. So, if you're interested in riding skateboards, whether you know anything about building a ramp or not, let's go out there and let's actually do it. So I see myself fail a little bit with my kids, where I'll be like, we ought to do this and we ought to do that. Oh, hold on, stick with me.
No worries, dude. I'm not hanging up. I got you.
Man, people are blowing me up.
Dude, you're important, man. You're important. I
guess so. But they would provide for us. Our first tour, my dad was like, take this. We have this Ford, what is it, like an F-350 dually with a camper on it. Seth and Bob and I, he just was like, take that.
Yo, man,
so we just took
a dually is one of the most underrated trucks ever. I love me a dually, and one day I'm going to get a dually. I'm telling you. I love dualies. Man, look,
you can do anything with it. So we toured we were in Chicago with that thing. We toured for a month with that thing. But I guess my folks, they would always
it's great on gas mileage too, isn't it? It's such a good gas.
Yeah, it's great. That's why it's got two tanks on it. Oh my gosh,
amazing.
But no, that was it. Like, they provided the space and the encouragement whenever we were interested in something. It was pretty simple in that way.
And most times when you mentioned earlier, whatever art you're into many other arts. What are some of the other things that you've dabbled in that you're proud of, that you really enjoy doing outside of music?
Yeah. Well, I would say that visual art is my most natural
really
expression, as far as that's what. Yeah, that one comes more naturally to me than anything. I have to work and put time in a different way to music to make it happen, where visually is, I think, more of my language. So and I don't know why that is. I don't know why that is. I'm grateful for the opportunity to do it. I can't explain it. It's a mystery. But I'm devoted to it. So I've done it ever since I went to school for art originally at East Carolina University, and I went for art. I was kind of like mixed up and lost. I ended up in communications, got a degree in that, and in the process returned to art before I left. And that was where I kind of I met mentors of mine that really were like, this is, I mean, directly said, this is what you were born to do. Like, this is what you need to be doing. Which is interesting. When somebody's telling you that, it's big words. Like one professor told me, you need to, when you graduate, you go to graduate school, and when you're done there, you move to New York City. And he says, a minimum of a year, but really you need to be in New York City for about 3 years. And I'm not talking about to go and work a teaching job as an artist. I want you to go and paint. I want you to give it a go. This is what you were born to do. And he was a big music fan. He encouraged me with music, but he was like, the music is fine, but this is your calling. And I have always played both of those. I'm committed to both. And I've at times felt like I couldn't be. And I think that's garbage. I have to watch that self sabotage that I'll tend to do with that. Cause it's part of my relationship with self-expression, that I bounce between the two. So, and where it comes out in a negative way is that I'll feel the doubt in that, well, if you're not putting time into music always, only, all the time, then are you really at the quote unquote level that you need to be at? Have you really found out what you're capable of? And that's such a trap. When, just trying to be open to what, like Kyle Pay is a good example of somebody who does a lot of things. And the one thing I said to Kyle, like, the thing is, because he said, his dad said, you're never going to be good at anything. You're just going to be decent at a lot of things. You're never going to be great at one thing. He's like, that I don't need to be. I said, well, Kyle, one thing that nobody's better at doing than you is being Kyle Petty, period.
Yep.
And it sounds cliche and silly to people, but when you get into the big leagues, and what I mean by big leagues is you get older. I'm not talking about a professional level. I'm talking about where you start going, wait a second, life has some real stuff that I'm gonna have to deal with. There's an end to this, and how am I going to navigate that? And it's going to come with suffering, and that's the big leagues to me. When you get to those, and it's like, all I can be is the best me. That's it. I'm not going to be the best singer. I'm not going to be the best guitarist and banjo player and pianist, songwriter. What does that even mean? What's it like? Stop. You just right. Work on you. That's it, and the rest will fall in place.
Yeah, but to someone and to many, you are the best. I mean, think about some of the songs you've written or sung, and how that has reached someone and helped transform their lives. That's major. That's a major thing. If you stop and think about it, and I don't know if you ever have, but I know you've heard songs that have changed your life.
Yep.
But you're actually doing that as well. And that's wonderful. That is a wonderful gift to have, and a wonderful gift to share.
I don't deny that. And I take responsibility for that, for sure. So to cover that, yes, people have told me that, and I trust them. I don't discount that. So I take that as the obligation. And the way for me to honor that is to I'm not with the self-doubt thing. Put that aside. When all the smoke clears, I still got to put time into the things that my purpose is. Like the work, I have a work, and that work takes a practice and exercise. Right. So this is with me always, this is with me always. And I'm writing, I'm writing and I'm staying open to it. Guitar's right there. I have my work with me because it has to, I'm committed to it. I'm in a lot of ways, I'm obligated to it,
Right.
So,
which is awesome, because I feel that as long as I raced bikes, where they say you've got to have 10,000 hours to be great at something, probably had about 90,000 hours in my legs by the time I got done racing. Right. But it was still work. You still had to train and tune yourself. How do you train and practice to be the best you that you can be on stage and with your painting?
For sure. So I compartmentalize the two now. However, I do have, of all things, I have a box in the bay under this bus that has visual tools. So That's on the bus, right? But I try to follow the calling, like it changes in an organic way. So on this year's touring so far, I've not taken my visual work to the road with me. So um, I've got a fretless banjo that's from like the late 1800s in here. So that is for my claw hammer. So I love traditional old time music. So I don't do a lot of it on stage, but I love to sit. It's almost like prayer or meditation. You just sit and it's like, it's all about the, and it's all this, the claw hammer, and it's haunting sound. This banjo has just got, I always call it the feral banjo. It's feral, man. I mean, it's just like wild. It's like got its own soul. I mean, you can't keep, the intonation's weird. It's always a little off. I mean, it's awesome. I've got my normal banjo that I like right now. I've never properly learned Earl Scruggs' Foggy Mountain Breakdown. So one way to just I don't play it on stage. Years ago we did, but I haven't really learned it. So I just sit down and maybe it's only 15 minutes, maybe it's an hour, maybe it's 30 minutes. Normally it's 15, 20 minutes. And then the writing process, I just am always open to that. Always.
Wow.
Always. One practice I'm doing right now is, this is something new I've never done before, is every morning, starting the morning with trying to document whatever dream that I had, and
cool.
and to see what is there more to it than I thought. And what I find happen is there's always like extraction of song idea and that stuff. So I don't know. I mean, I think that just staying engaged and staying in that, it's always yielded work for me. If you want to call it work, it's always yielded expression. So I just stay in, man.
Nice. Well, and before we get out of here, because we're getting close on time, when you said balance a second ago, I know you're a big family man, and sports has always been a big part of you as well, because you and I have stopped and talked about the Hawks and the Bulls and all kinds of sports, man. Soccer as well. Like it's in us for sure. That could be the competitive outlet. How do you feel that can help you with your balance from work, music, art, family? Like where does that piece fall into your puzzle?
Yeah, I got to say, one, when it comes to exercising, there is nothing better than playing a game with some other folks, right? It's just it's the
nothing.
best. I love it. I love I've done all kinds of exercise, and I love a lot of different types of from CrossFit to jogging, like all kinds of things. But boy, I love playing a competitive sport. If it's tennis, basketball, soccer, those are great. And I do a lot of soccer and basketball these days. But when you look at teams, like we watch our children playing on teams, the parallels with being in any group and caring for each other, the parallel from a band to a team is so spot on, man. I mean, it's just like, I really look at it like all just places to practice caring for each other. Like, how do I take care of this group? And we build this template in a game where it's like, okay, this group over here, they don't literally want to hurt you, but they want to see you fail. Okay. And sometimes they do want to hurt you. And your job is to take care of each other in this. That's and it reflects something really, it reflects a really big love. And we get to look at that, and we end up being inspired by 6-year-olds and 12-year-olds and 15-year-olds. Like we watch them and we're going, this is what living's about. That's right. They're reminding us, they teach us. So I don't see why adults and parents shouldn't be doing all that, getting in there and doing it too. That's why, like for you and I playing basketball, it's like, man, this is good for us. Like you and I both agree, we ought not stop. Part of our childlike, if you want to call it that, endeavors, they're important. They don't go away with age. Like, ask Willie Nelson, man. I mean, like, you got to keep dreaming, baby. And those I say that about the sports and that. It's just a big part of it. It's a good place to do it. It's a good place to put it.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. You keep dreaming. If someone said, "Man, you're 50," I'm like, I know. I don't know what 50 is supposed to feel like, but I feel like Craig, and Craig is just going to keep moving because that's all I know at this point, right?
Yep.
And I love the analogy you used with our kids and how whoever's out there coaching is loving up on all our kids and protecting them and looking out for them. And hey, here's how you do this and navigate here, because Max doesn't want to listen to Craig, but he's going to listen to Mr. Scott, or he's going to listen to Mr. Tristan, right? He's going to, or going to listen to Katie. Like, he's going to listen, even though I've said the same thing already. But, you know, I love that nucleus that we have in that group, and it's amazing. And it's wonderful to watch it. And Scott, this has been an absolute pleasure. We could keep talking forever, but they're going to kick me out here in 4 minutes.
It's awesome.
When are you playing back in Charlotte? Where are you going next? When can people get out and see you? And how can they get your art as well?
When does this come out? When are you showing?
Whenever. I might show it on this Sunday. I'm not sure yet, but it's coming pretty quick.
Well, I mean, I'll be in Houston tomorrow, then Dallas, then New Braunfels outside of Austin, 2 nights there, and then we circle around. Craig, I'm so sorry. I don't know exactly where we'll be after that. I'll come home. I'll take a breath, and then we go back out. We always have our big weekend at Red Rocks. That's coming up in July.
Got it.
So, and we'll be all over, man. Just check us out. We'll be there, and I appreciate that. And
one last thing about your art, where if someone wants to buy some or take a look at it, where can they go see that?
So I would say there's 2 galleries in North Carolina. SoCo Gallery in Charlotte, SOCO, and then Hexton Gallery in Chicago. Actually, they're in Chicago and Aspen, outside of North Carolina. They also represent both galleries. We're all dear friends and working together. Great people, but either one, Hexton Gallery and SoCo Gallery.
Fantastic. Well, Scott, thank you so much for your time today. It has been an absolute pleasure. Always fun chatting with you, man. And man, I would look forward for you to get back so we can get some more basketball in. Travel safe. Right. And we'll see you very soon. If you guys like what you're seeing, please make sure you subscribe here on YouTube. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please subscribe there as well. Scott, you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you again so much. And then I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. See you
later.